took him 2 attempts to get through the doors. He ricocheted off the frame on the first attempt. Ron merely guffawed gloatingly and strode off into the hall after him, but Harry caught Hermione's arm and held her back. "What?" said Hermione defensively. "If you ask me," said Harry quietly, "McLaggen looks like he was confounded this morning." And he was standing right in front of
Wayne's weed whacking the other side. I can't mow while he's weed whacking.
"Oh, all right then, I did it," she whispered. "But you should have heard the way he was talking about Ron and Ginny. Anyway, he's got a nasty temper. You saw how he reacted when he didn't get in. You wouldn't have wanted someone like that on the team." "No," said Harry, "no. I suppose that's true. But wasn't that dishonest, Hermione? I mean, you're a prefect, aren't you?" "Oh, be quiet," she snapped as he smirked. "What are you two doing?" demanded Ron, reappearing in the doorway to the Great Hall and looking suspicious. "Nothing," said Harry and Hermione together, and they hurried after Ron. The smell of roast beef made Harry's stomach ache with hunger, but they had barely taken 3 steps toward the Gryffindor table when Professor Slughorn appeared in front of them, blocking their path. Harry, just the man I was hoping to see," he boomed genially, twiddling the ends of his walrus moustache and puffing out his enormous belly. "I was hoping to catch you before dinner. What do you say to a spot of supper tonight in my rooms instead? We're having a little party. Just a few rising stars. I've got McLaggen coming and Zabini, the charming Melinda Bobbin. I don't know whether you know her. Her family owns a large chain of apothecaries. And, of course, I hope very much that Miss Granger will favour me by coming too." Slughorn made Hermione a little bow as he finished speaking. It was as though Ron was not present. Slughorn did not so much as look at him. "I can't come, Professor," said Harry at once. "I've got a detention with Professor Snape." "Oh, dear," said Slughorn, his face falling comically. Dear. I was counting on you, Harry. Well, now, I'll just have to have a word with Severus and explain the situation. I'm sure I'll be able to persuade him to postpone your detention. Yes, I'll see you both later." He bustled away out of the hall. "He's got no chance of persuading Snape," said Harry the moment Slughorn was out of earshot. "This detention's already been postponed once. Snape did it for Dumbledore, but he won't do it for anyone else." "Oh, I wish you could come. I don't want to go on my own," said Hermione anxiously. Harry knew that she was thinking about McLaggen. "I doubt you'll be alone. Ginny'll probably be invited," snapped Ron, who did not seem to have taken kindly to being ignored by Slughorn. After dinner, they made their way back to Gryffindor Tower. The common room was very crowded, as most people had finished dinner by now, but they managed to find a free table and sat down. Ron, who had been in a bad mood ever since the encounter with Slughorn, folded his arms and frowned at the ceiling. Hermione reached out for a copy of the Evening Prophet, which somebody had left abandoned on a chair. "Anything new?" said Harry. "Not really." Hermione had opened the newspaper and was scanning the inside pages. "Oh, look! Your dad's in here, Ron." "He's all right," she added quickly, for Ron had looked around in alarm. "It just says he's been to visit the Malfoys' house. This second search of the Death Eater's residence does not seem to have yielded any results. Arthur Weasley, of the Office for the Detection and Confiscation of Counterfeit Defensive Spells and Protective Objects, said that his team had been acting upon a confidential tip-off." "Yeah, mine," said Harry. "I told him at King's Cross about Malfoy and that thing he was trying to get Borgin to fix. Well, if it's not at their house, he must have brought whatever it is to Hogwarts with him." "But how can he have done, Harry?" said Hermione, putting down the newspaper with a surprised look. "We were all searched when we arrived, weren't we?" "Were you?" said Harry, taken aback. "I wasn't." "Oh, no, of course you weren't. I forgot you were late." "Well, Filch ran over all of us with secrecy sensors when we got into the entrance hall. Any dark object would have been found." I know for a fact Crabbe had a shrunken head confiscated. So you see, Malfoy can't have brought in anything dangerous. Momentarily stymied, Harry watched Ginny Weasley playing with Arnold the Pygmy-Puff for a while before seeing a way around this objection. Someone sent it to him by owl, then, he said. His mother, or someone. All the owls are being checked too, said Hermione. Filch told us so when he was jabbing those secrecy sensors everywhere he could reach. Really stumped this time, Harry found nothing else to say. There did not seem to be any way Malfoy could have brought a dangerous or dark object into the school. He looked hopefully at Ron, who was sitting with his arms folded, staring over at Lavender Brown. Can you think of any way Malfoy— Oh, drop it, Harry, said Ron. Listen, it's not my fault Slughorn invited Hermione and me to his stupid party. Neither of us wanted to go, you know, said Harry, firing up. Well, as I'm not invited to any parties, said Ron, getting to his feet again, I think I'll go to bed. He stomped off toward the door to the boys' dormitories, leaving Harry and Hermione staring after him. Harry, said the new chaser, Demelza Robbins, appearing suddenly at his shoulder, I've got a message for you. From Professor Slughorn? Asked Harry, sitting up hopefully. No, from Professor Snape, said Demelza. Harry's heart sank. He says you're to come to his office at 8:30 tonight to do your detention, no matter how many party invitations you've received. And he wanted you to know you'll be sorting out rotten flopper worms from good ones to use in potions, and he says there's no need to bring protective gloves. Right, said Harry grimly. Thanks a lot, Demelza. Chapter 12. Silver and Opals. Where was Dumbledore, and what was he doing? Harry caught sight of the headmaster only twice over the next few weeks. He rarely appeared at meals anymore, and Harry was sure Hermione was right in thinking that he was leaving the school for days at a time. Had Dumbledore forgotten the lessons he was supposed to be giving Harry? Dumbledore had said that the lessons were leading to something to do with a prophecy. Harry had felt bolstered, comforted, and now he felt slightly abandoned. Halfway through October came their first trip of the term to Hogsmeade. Harry had wondered whether these trips would still be allowed, given the increasingly tight security measures around the school, but was pleased to know that they were going ahead. It was always good to get out of the castle grounds for a few hours. Harry woke early on the morning of the trip, which was proving stormy, and whiled away the time until breakfast by reading his copy of Advanced Potion Making. He did not usually lie in bed reading his textbooks. That sort of behavior, as Ron rightly said, was indecent in anybody except Hermione, who was simply weird that way. Harry felt, however, that the Half-Blood Prince's copy of Advanced Potion Making hardly qualified as a textbook. The more Harry pored over the book, the more he realized how much was in there. Not only the handy hints and shortcuts on potions that were earning him such a glowing reputation with Slughorn, but also the imaginative little jinxes and hexes scribbled in the margins, which Harry was sure, judging by the crossings out and revisions, that the prince had invented himself. Harry had already attempted a few of the prince's self-invented spells. There had been a hex that caused toenails to grow alarmingly fast. He had tried this on Crabbe in the corridor with very entertaining results. A jinx that glued the tongue to the roof of the mouth, which he had twice used to general applause on an unsuspecting Argus Filch. And, perhaps most useful of all, Muffliato, a spell that filled the ears of anyone nearby with an unidentifiable buzzing, so that lengthy conversations could be held in class without being overheard. The only person who did not find these charms amusing was Hermione, who maintained a rigidly disapproving expression throughout and refused to talk at all if Harry had used the Muffliato